Hey, welcome and good day. We're here in my office at the Lensman Gallery in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to talk a little bit today about one of the trips I made for Sports Illustrated. While I worked at the magazine, we were able to do a tremendous amount of international travel. And one of the greatest trips that I ever went on was to Moscow to photograph the great pole vaulter Sergey Bubka. When I got the assignment, I contacted my assistant, Jim Kaiser, and we had to figure out how much equipment we were going to need to take. Our understanding was that the shoot was going to take place in Moscow, indoors, with Bubka training. Jim and I figured it was going to take a lot of gear, and so we packed up about 25 cases worth of gear. With everything packed, Jim and I headed out to the airport and flew to Moscow. We got through customs with no problem, and before we knew it, there we were in Red Square at the National Hotel. I got to tell you, it was a really surreal feeling to be walking around Red Square after you see it on television all those years. And so here we were. Jim and I were both really kind of blown away. We waited a day or two. We were trying to find out where Bubka was and when he was going to show up. And then the Time magazine bureau chief came to the hotel and told us that we had a bit of a change of plan. Bubka was going to train in this industrial town of Donetsk, which we found out was about 21 hours from Moscow by train. So Jim and I had to now figure out how to get all of the gear to the train station. We had so much stuff. It took 2 cabs we filled up to get us to the train station. Our immediate problem was we had a hard time getting a cab to take us over there with all the gear, and so we were really running late when we finally got to the train. We're actually literally pushing stuff through the windows to get everything on so we could board, and then the gentleman that's helping us, I wanted to give him a tip, and so I tipped him what I thought was adequate, but he put his hand out, he wanted some more, so finally I literally gave him all the rest of the rubles that I had. So we get on the train, and then Jim and I realized that we're now going to be on this train for 21 hours with no money, no rubles to buy any food. What we did have was 2 bottles of cognac. We had no idea how far that cognac was going to get us. The women that were working on the train, we actually nicknamed the hairy leg monsters. They were just some beastly looking women that were working on this train. Well, they spotted the cognac, and now they abandoned all their duties and decided they thought they were going to drink with us for the rest of the trip. They crowded into this small sleeper car that we had. Jim and I each had our own car. They crowded into one of them with us and started to pour themselves some shots. And then when we were finally able to communicate that we didn't have any money for food, we were able to trade cognac for food, and Jim and I ate the rest of the way into Donetsk. Once we got checked into the hotel in Donetsk and we got together with the writer, Gary Smith, it was time to go meet Sergey Bubka. Well, we went to the training facility, and now it's outdoors, not indoors. So all of the stuff that we hauled over there, we didn't need. So that remained behind. And so we meet Sergey, and man, he couldn't have been nicer. It was a really pleasant working experience with him. He cooperated with everything that we needed. And at one point when he was doing some training jumps, I spotted a cherry picker that was sitting there by the facility. And so I was able to communicate with the person that was operating it that I wanted to get it over to the pole vault pit so I could photograph Sergey coming up towards me for a photograph. And so we were able to get that done. And we got a picture that I really, really liked. After we finished in Donetsk, we all boarded the train, another 21 hours, back to Moscow, because the one photograph that I really needed was I needed Sergey in Red Square to give this whole thing a sense of place. And so he was a little bit reluctant at first because he wasn't quite sure we were able to photograph in Red Square, and it was definitely a concern for him. But finally he just said, hey, look, let's just go do it. And so we took a small amount of gear, just one softbox and one camera, and we took Sergey into Red Square, and we were able to make a portrait that I really liked so we could lead off the story for Sports Illustrated. If you like this little story about Sergey Bubka, myself and Jim Kaiser in Moscow, please, in the lower right-hand corner, hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell next to it, and you'll be notified of all upcoming Lensman Project videos.